Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be reviewing a game played between two of my students. If you are looking for a Go teacher and you're interested in me being your teacher, please look at the description below the video to find ways to contact me. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Opening, of course, standard. And I always say as long as you stay on Josekis, that's fine. Like here, Black could pincer if Black wanted to. Black could kick. Black could pincer in a bunch of different ways. Black can take the corner. Black could go elsewhere. In the game, Black decided to go here. And it's hard to say that this is a bad move, because it's not. And it's hard to say pincering's a bad move or kicking. Because in a lot of cases, unless you die outright in the opening, one, that's probably due to Joseki knowledge. And two, unless that happens, games aren't decided in the opening. So really, you're just setting up for the mid game where games are usually decided. Then if it stays even through the middle game, games then get decided in the end game. So here again, White has a lot of choices too. White chooses to attach Hane. And again, there's a lot of different Joseki choices here Black could make. Black can connect solidly, descend, Atari down. So again, a lot of it just comes down to preference and what you know. So Black goes here and descends. And very similarly, White can cut either way. So really it comes down to, do you know your Josekis? So yeah, that's why Joseki studying is important. So make sure you know your Josekis, especially nowadays with all the new AI innovations. So White cuts on the inside, which if you saw my, second round game review from the second Cleveland Go Club rating tournament, I've talked about this choice here. I like this choice as White compared to cutting here, because in this variation, I'm not super indebted to the stone on the outside, whereas in this one, like this, I could leave it at this point, but it does mean I have to do something with the stones on the outside. So I like just taking the corner and leaving this stone for Aji. And even White takes here. I like this Joseki too. Black can sometimes decide to, or White I mean, can decide to bump here. But it actually helps Black's outside because you can't really push and cut. Right? Because of the Aji of R18, you cannot push and cut this. There's no way to now capture. And so if I take to get rid of that, then Black can just fix somehow. And Black's outside has no real weakness. So I like taking the stone off because it starts to create some Aji here. And even if Black goes elsewhere, even if Black bumps here, you just play this one, and we can see there's a very tantalizing spot at 015 for White later. Combine this with, let's see, Black goes elsewhere. Combine this with this kind of thing. We can extend. We can look to play 015 at some point. That's why I like this variation for White. Yeah. And so in the game, even after this, White can decide to descend now, because if Black Ataris now, White can just connect. So it's almost Mii for White. So Black is more likely to split White, and then White can live in the corner. If you play this after, like let's say we go here and Black goes elsewhere, now Black might be less likely to disconnect you, because one, there's no point value in this for Black, and two, if you can just extend along the side anyways, like, then what is Black cutting you for? You're alive in the corner, and you're mostly alive on the right side. So I think if Black bumps here, White should descend now, before White lives with P18. But Black goes elsewhere. Now again, White can choose to go elsewhere, but again, I really want to play this one, or even now bump here. Even now bump here. Because now this push and cut works, because we've taken the stone at R17. Even if you make this exchange, later you can push here, and still there's Aji of descending. So yes, that's why I like this variation for white in the corner, but it's mainly a preference thing. Plus, I like to watch AIs on Fox a lot, especially the AIs that give amateurs 3, 4, 5 stones. And the AIs tend to like this variation for white, so that's why I like it. So white plays here. So black bumps, so yep, white answers, and then black pincers. And here white goes straight for the attachment, which I think is fine. I think a simpler way to do things is just to jump, because we can see K3 is isolated inside white's potential. And then, so if black splits, then we can play our attachment here. When you do it immediately, we can see in some of the variations, especially that black chose, it's not going to be as nice for white. So black goes there. Yeah, white, I think, needs to descend. Although it might just become the same thing. But yeah, I think white needs to descend here. Hane. Something like this. If black Ataris, we will Hane here. If black cuts, we will Atari. And this is why you want this jump here. Let's say you already made this exchange. You could cover here, and black can capture the corner, but it's going to be on a small scale. This is probably still okay for white, believe it or not, to do this now. Yeah, I think it's okay for white. Because even if black plays a move like this, then we can play towards the bottom or play something on top. Because keep in mind, in all these variations, white is outnumbered 3 stones, maybe even 4 stones if you include R9, to 1 stone. So white shouldn't be looking for something equal. White just needs something that's okay, so that white can get stuff elsewhere. So yeah, in the game, when white plays here, yeah, black just connects. Now this connection only makes sense based on a variation black could have played, and that'll make sense once you see it. But if black's not going to play that variation, black should just cut or Atari here and then fix. Something like this. Because we'll see that, sorry, Atari first. Play here. After this, white cannot connect. Here's the question. Do you know how to cut 2 knight's moves on the 2nd and 3rd line? Again, this is a shape that all players need to know, is you can play here. And if white covers, we're not going to cut. If you cut, then white connects. We can see we have 2 liberties to white's 3. So instead, we clamp. And the clamp is a really nice move because if white tries to connect, we can now cut and capture at O2, so white can't connect. Even if white can capture a stone at M2, we have now successfully cut off the corner. And it's another key concept in Go is your opponent's key move is my key move. Look where white plays to fix. White plays at P2. So what if we play P2? And it works. And it works. So yeah, you can attach here. White probably pulls back, and then we even stand up, and now we've sealed white into the corner. And I think this is... It should be Gote, I think. Do I know my life and death? Yeah, it should be alive, or at least it's Ko. So white would probably go elsewhere at this point. Yeah, so black should Atari here because white can't connect. Yeah. It says white can't connect. White can also choose to go here and then play like this move next. This leaves more Aji with the M3 stone. So we can clamp next. But even black just fixes. Again, that's pretty nice for black. Yeah, so black just connects, allowing white to play here and then play here. And so then the question is, can we split white? And the answer to that is no. And we see black tries to by throwing in first, then Atarying. And you would like to be able to go here, but this is a kind of famous shape where if white just cuts you, it's not a ko, because white can just Atari you back, and you run out of liberties. You connect, capture. So it looks like a ko, and in a lot of cases it is, but in this case it's just not. So black is like, okay, I have to connect. White can connect, and yeah, this kind of shape happens. So what did black do wrong? So black needs to simply play here. Black needs to simply play here. Because this forces white. Obviously white has multiple choices, but it almost forces white to go here, and then we can just connect solidly like this. And the difference is white isn't completely alive now, which is good. The other big factor here is now S3 becomes really big. Becomes really, really big. And remember, earlier I said the only reason black should play R5 is for a super secret reason. Well, here's the reason. Is if it looks like this, S3 becomes so big. So big. Like, even white bumps, maybe we do this. If white goes elsewhere, Haneing here, we're not threatening to capture one stone. Like, white could just ignore and do this. We're threatening to capture all 3 stones because we can cut at P3. Like, we don't have to just cut at Q3. And that's still quite big, but obviously this is much bigger. So yeah, this is quite large because it also, while this cut doesn't work, there's Aji at 05 for potential peeps later with moves like 06. And especially when white's trying to invade the right side, this will become very helpful. But if P4 is captured, then that peep doesn't mean anything. So yeah, notice when black throws in here and then plays this way, now S3 no longer works because white can just block or even ignore as well, and it's just not as threatening. Again, when it looks like this, when we play S3, it practically warrants a response because we haven't thrown in here yet. So yeah, black by being overzealous, by throwing in here, made the position a lot worse. And now white cuts. Yeah, black just jumps. But yeah, black really should just descend. Because if white cuts, white is saying, I care about keeping you separated. So there's no reason not to play here. When you extend here, white can even Atari once and then like stand up. And now it's just not as good for you on the bottom. And notice getting K5 starts to activate some Aji here. Some Aji. So yeah, white just backs off though, very patient. And then black plays here. Yeah, again, I'm not sure why black's not just descending. Play there. White kicks. Stand up. And now white decides, let's come in. And whenever you play a move to reduce, you always want to look for follow-ups. So a very common move when your opponent has a lot of thickness and you're trying to reduce is to play a large knights from one of your enemy stones. So why is this a nice move to play? If you get capped, which is very likely here, you're looking to shoulder hit. And if black pushes you, we can see our shape is actually quite light here. Something like this. It's very easy, and yeah, it's very easy because our shape is so flexible. So when white plays here, to me it looks like white is threatening to play R10. So if black caps, I'm looking to play R10. And I think R10 is a very nice move. If something like this happens, we're already reducing black while starting to make some eye space. So black does cap. So I think white should just attach here. We played a move that has a follow-up, so we should get that follow-up. In the game white attaches, which is okay, but I think black could have punished white harder than black did in the game. So black would like to go here, but this ladder actually favors white. So black can't do that, of course. So black decides to go here. And when white hanes, black cuts. Now this is actually what white wants. Because now white can choose, okay, now it's easy to give up just 2 stones. Because there's no easy way to sacrifice. In the game, white just Ataris, 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 and is out. And it's because black left a lot of Aji for white. So in the game, black needs to be a little more patient. Black needs to just Hane. Just like this. If white fixes, then we just descend. Notice now there's not an easy way for white to squeeze black to get forcing moves. And white kind of has to now save the whole dragon. Whereas before, when you cut here, it's very easy to sacrifice now. So yeah, I would just play here as black. And again, not sure what white would do. Probably white goes here. We just descend. Getting some profit here. White has to make some bad exchanges now because white has to save the whole thing. So if you can imagine something like this. Okay, white can keep pushing from behind. I'll make a bunch of points up top. You make no points on the right side. It's pretty good for black. So yeah, even though it's tempting, especially when you're attacking, to kind of capture some stones, I don't think black's actually happy with capturing this on such a small scale when black already had the right side. And notice, if white's able to get S14, black's top also gets isolated. So yeah, I like this result for white. In some cases, you really want to be able to squeeze here. Because notice if black takes, well, now it's even better for white. Maybe white was worried about black going here, but in some cases, this is even fine. If this sort of thing happens, we can finish by playing this kind of move. Or even just connecting. We've now successfully cut off the upper right. And if black wants to take some stones in the center, okay, I'll take the entire upper right. So again, I like this for white. I like this for white. So I think squeezing here was possible. Meditaring is fine too. Here, this might be a little too much because white assumed this was Sente no matter what. But what if black ignores? So what if black goes here? Again, if white captures, then I'm going to stand up. Black actually makes a lot in the upper right. And once again, white is not fully alive in the center. So this Atari might be a little too much. Yeah, it might be a little too much. So yeah, black shouldn't treat this move as Sente. Yeah, cutting here. Sends and then connects. And then black goes here. This is an okay move. Obviously, it's trying to be a ladder breaker. But white's able to just push once and then fix. Fix the ladder. So instead, I think black should prioritize keeping white weak. So one, obviously this move is very thick and very big, but I would peep here, and if white connects, then jump. This is keeping the pressure on white. And like in the game, black's able to basically surround the top, but white is very comfortable now in the center. So I want to keep that pressure up with this kind of play. Because we're most likely going to get the top anyways if this sort of thing happens. So like push. Although we might not even be able to push now because of the cut. But so let's just maybe play here. Keep the pressure on. White doesn't have time to play up top when white isn't alive in the center. So yeah, black should have prioritized weakening white as opposed to getting 2 moves for the ladder breaker. Because white goes here, but there are much better moves than that. White could have played here as a ladder breaker. So yeah, right there. Or even like this kind of move, threatening to come into the top. So this is a nice idea because white is trying to save or protect both cuts. The problem comes when black peeps your shape here, because this becomes sente and then this becomes sente, and now this stone here is in a very peculiar spot. So I would still just prioritize shape and maybe play this kind of move. Yeah. Right there. But I like how white's trying to be efficient. Again, my big threes for every move: sente, shape, efficiency. It's not great shape, but white is thinking about trying to be efficient, which I think is the hardest thing for weaker players to kind of grasp. So I do like this move. Just here, it was still better to just play good shape. If black goes elsewhere, then there's still Aji up top at moves such as M17. Black goes there, kick, and jump, and then turn. Yeah, black got the thick turn. White jumps. And then this, not a big fan of this. This is just helping white if white just fix like this. If I'm trying to protect the bottom, I would just jump here or attach. This is just helping white, and we haven't really gained much for this. But maybe black knew something I didn't, because white pushes down. But this is very risky. I don't know how black does not cut here. Not only does it cut white into two weak groups, but it's also tengen. And a powerful move that is also tengen, it's almost an automatic win. So yeah, black should definitely go here. All jokes aside, white has two weak groups to deal with. If white fixes or helps the two stones in the center, black can look to attack white on a large scale on the other side. If white fixes on this side, then these two stones are so weak. So yeah, I'm not sure why black cut. It also makes sense when black wedges here. Like, why are you wedging if you're not planning on cutting? Otherwise, again, you should just maybe just jump here. So yeah, or even just play here. But yeah, so it's weird. And maybe black is trying to leave it, because if white fixes now, okay, I get an extra move elsewhere. But we'll see, black never had the chance to cut there, because white fixes up top. Black shoulder hits. This is looking like, hey, I'm gonna cut here because look at the thickness I'm getting. White wedges. Cover. And here, just like on the right side, you do not need to cut. And what I mean is, you can just pull back. Prioritizing good shape to not give your opponent forcing moves is such a important proverb to grasp, idea to grasp. Because if white just connects, then okay, we're fine. All right, we just turn like this. This is quite thick. Or again, I would be considering cutting here, especially with my stones on the left side. This cut seems to make a lot more sense. When we cut ourselves, we give our opponent forcing moves. So notice white can Atari and then fix by going here. So now white has successfully cut off the left side and the bottom. And now this cut we don't have time to do anymore. So yeah, black had the right idea. Even like here, black should think to maybe fix by going like this. If white pushes, then we cut directly. If white fixes the cut, then we can cover by playing here. So yeah, black got too heavy on the left side. Yeah, and black tries to split here. Yeah, black tries to split here, cover, and it could have worked if black had played differently. Yeah, black had played differently. So white could have jumped here, and this is a very nice move, basically saying, oh, if you push me, then you can't cut. And even if black can wedge here, like this, look at the left side. Even if black's able to cut next, we are now just capturing the left side. Yeah, that's fully captured now. Now white would need to worry about the center, but I think there is enough Aji in the area to justify trying to live here. Like white can play here, white can attach maybe. There's a lot of options here. Obviously we can descend now too, and then link that with this move. So yeah, I think this is okay for white to do. So just jump here. Just jump here. It'll look like the game, but you'll see black had a chance to do something very clever. When white Atari's here, black could have counter Atari'd by going here. Basically saying, okay, if you connect, now I connect, now you can't squeeze me and get out. Well, if you take, now I capture, and now you're sealed in. And now my left side doesn't get cut off. Notice what happens in the game. Black's able to capture the 2, but white is out. And again, is cutting off the left side. So, yeah, black had time to actually go here, I think. Because white has to struggle to live here as well. Yeah, somehow. We basically can't let black get this Atari, it feels like. So we have to play like this kind of exchange. Yeah, we play this kind of exchange. Black can even Hane, threatening to connect back to the left side. So we're just going to get sealed in, and it's not going to be great. And similarly to the last one, or the last variation of here, black's going to be able to attack the upper middle, but the difference is we don't get the left side in compensation, right? So, yeah, black could have played here. I think this was a good chance for black. When black connects, white's able to escape, jump. And here, black goes immediately into trying to live here. But I think black needs to prioritize the safety of the left side group first by playing here. Because there's a lot of forcing moves that black can get that black can most likely live with. For example, this is forcing, and already we can start to see black can live here, right? Descend, maybe Hane, and then play here. Starting to look alive. So, yeah. Black was almost too scared of dying on the bottom, but in the process, gets their left side cut off. And they even cut here. Okay. Yeah, and even ended in Gote to live on the bottom. So, yeah, remember, look all the way back here. Black thought black was on the offensive, but black really wasn't. So that's why I would start the offensive by, even this shoulder hit's fine, but just cut here. In this game right now, black has 0 weak groups. But when black tries to attack, black's the one with 2 weak groups, and white's the one with 1 weak group. So, yeah. So white descends. And again, I understand black descending here, but you have to keep in mind there's no point value in this. So if you can't attack white very well, this move is not going to mean much. So in a lot of cases, it's actually worth more for black to peep, play moves in the center, and allow white to connect on the first line, because white doesn't get any points with this. Conversely, black doesn't get any points with this. But now that white has made this exchange, white peeps, and black had the right idea, just the wrong execution. Is black goes here. This is, again, one of my pet peeves that a lot of players make, is when you have the, and this came up, I think, in a couple reviews of my tournament games, is when you have this kind of 2-colored 1-space jump, playing the diagonal in a lot of scenarios is not great. And we'll see later, this move is what causes black to, believe it or not, die in the upper left. Spoiler alert. Because this move helps your opponent's liberties, but does not help your own liberties. White's shape is much stronger here. So instead, you really want to consider attaching. Whether, in this case, attaching here, or, because it's symmetrical, attaching here with this 1-space jump. And this is what black should look to do. So if black attaches, sure white can descend. If white descends, there is some bad Aji here, but keep in mind that us Atariing is a peep. So that's quite important to keep in mind. Even if this happens like this, connect. Maybe we can even wedge. All right, there's a lot of bad Aji here for both sides, I guess. So maybe black didn't like that. And there's other potential moves for white as well. If you go this way and then cut this way, again, I actually like this more for black, because we've actually connected now to our left side or to our right side. For example, if we do need to connect from the top, we can push here, push down, and notice because of this cut here, we can capture something like so. So yeah, that's quite nice. And now, after this, if white goes elsewhere, white's not alive in the center. This is, even though white captures a stone, this is not an eye yet, or 2 eyes yet, I mean. So yeah, I wouldn't mind this for black. I wouldn't mind this for black. Sorry, and also go there, yeah. But when you play this one, white gets to block, and then black has to fix anyways. So black kind of lost momentum here, even though black didn't give up a stone. But then white goes elsewhere, and this is a big move, but obviously as well, white has a target in the center. But you can see it's very hard now when white definitely has an eye in this kind of O-N area, and has forcing moves at M16, followed up with L16. So I like white's ignore here, although it can be risky. So black pushes, white just jumps. I like that move. Now black starts making trouble for white, because obviously the left side is too big. Peep. So black plays out the shape point. Yep, that was necessary. So white just jumps. And again, we make the same not great shape. Instead, black should play moves like this. This is threatening to cut. So let's say white bumps. We can stand up. Now here's the difference. Now white can't make an eye at M16. Again, before, white could probably play here, and then play here. That's kind of the trouble for black to try to kill white, is this was always Sente. But now, if by going here, I could potentially get rid of that. So if this kind of thing happens, notice white now doesn't have 2 eyes. And we can... what's the best way? One of these two, it's one of these two spots, H14 or H13. But you can see white's weak here. When we play this one, yeah, even if white just Hanes now, white's just alive. So, yeah, and these moves are Sente. There's no other option for black, because black needs to stay connected. But the other problem is, again, this connection here, or the shape here for white is much better than black. So if you wanted to do anything, attach. Don't play this diagonal. It's most of the time it's better for your opponent than it is for you. Hane back. Yep, pull back. And then black tries to split. So the problem with what black did here was black was attacking too one-dimensionally. Whenever you attack, you need to look for what is my profit going to be. Notice when black plays so up close like this, black's profit was Dame, it looks like. All right, white pushes, black even pulls back. Yeah, white's able to cut off this stone that black played, and black basically got some Dame. Instead, like at this point, black should look to, well, for sure this point, but black should look to, or black should ask themselves, what is white's goal here? Right, obviously to make 2 eyes, but white is trying to connect back to the left side. So this is when we can get extra forcing moves towards the left side, so we can play moves like this. The idea with these kind of moves is if white just answers quote-unquote normally, something like this, these stones here are going to help us cut off white. Imagine something like this happened. Well, these stones are helping me cut white off. Okay, well, what if white ignores you and says, okay, what are you going to do now, black? Well, now we have potential follow-ups on the left side that we can play. Right now we can get our profit by reducing the left side. That is our profit. So yeah, this is actual tangible profit, whereas the way black played, you can see black basically got nothing. Even here, black can still look to attach. Because again, this is profit. If white has to pull back to save the middle group, then we have gained something by connecting back to our C12 stone. By just peeping like this, you can see we don't gain anything. And even black pulled back. Black could have actually gone here, because black had time to Atari. But even if this happens, white's still just alive. So we haven't gained much. So always look to attack for profit. Don't just like seal in for no reason. If it's early on and you can seal in, yes, that's good. But if there's no profit in sealing in, because again, sealing in here is just dame, then you should look for a different profit. So black peeps, connect, descend. Yeah, I think white goes there. That is big. I really want to go here as white. Yes. Black can try to connect, but black actually has very few liberties in the corner. Like already like this, black can't reduce white on the outside because this kind of variation will happen. So if black has to try to extend liberties by playing like this kind of way, yeah, even that doesn't have that many liberties, and white can come back to the top. So I think white was a little nice here, although white was probably just playing simply and saying, okay, you can take the corner. I'll reduce your top side. So now we're getting, looks like we're getting into endgame, but white has a move up their sleeve. Playing there. Yeah, that was a strange move. Yeah. I know what they're protecting, as if you just block something like this, white can jump across here, and if black pushes, play here, and cut, and you can see there's lots of problems, but I think there's more efficient ways to fix. Yeah, what if you like play this kind of move? Probably a slightly more efficient, but what happens is white peeps, or sorry, not peeps, but invades, black pushes, and white plays here. This is a very nice move, saying if you block, then I can connect anyways. And notice white's actually cutting off the entire top. Isolating the entire top. So black Ataris, but then white can connect back. And again, remember what I said when black made this kick earlier, this N16 move, how it was going to come back to bite black? Well, it did. White's able to come back and connect. And even though white loses the corner, white captured these stones in the upper left. Now, I will commend white on their sacrifice, although potentially they didn't think it was a sacrifice because they play here. But maybe they were also thinking, okay, I'm going to play these moves to force black to capture later. But it kind of looks like white wasn't planning on sacrificing. But it's totally fine because after the white dies up there, white pushes here, and black's dead, and black resigned. So yeah. That's the end of the game. Black resigned here. And it was a pretty dominant game by white. I'll say white overall played very well. I think for white needs to kind of, and this is hard to do, but kind of not assume your opponent's going to play in the way you're expecting. So one example was getting this Atari at M10. Black could have double Atari'd at N12 and split black. Or split white, I mean. Same thing over here. When you Atari here, black can play at J9. So to kind of put that in a broader sense, kind of just when you're trying to read variations, try to read even more variations. like, okay, when I Atari, I think black only has 1 or 2 responses. But really go that extra level and say, okay, does black have 3, 4, 5 responses? And so for black in this game, black should not be so content with capturing or cutting off a couple stones at a time. Especially if you can continue attacking a whole group. Because again, look on the right side when black cut off a few stones. White got all this thickness on the outside. And look what happened when black tried to attack the center stones. Black ended up capturing these 2 stones in Gote. So, and lost the left side. So, yeah, black needs to kind of think on a larger sense and really ask themselves, why am I attacking? What is my purpose? No, what am I trying to gain from all these attacks? And that should surely help black find better ways in how to attack. But yeah, that's it for this game. If you have any questions about this game, please let me know in the comments. And just to reiterate, if you are looking for a Go teacher, I do have student slots open. So if you're interested, please check the description on ways to contact me. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.